Captain Larry here from Passage Nautical with a brief discussion about jibs and their different sizes and uses on a cruising sailboat. This is geared mainly for customers who are looking to buy a cruising boat and trying to figure out what kind of sails that you want to put on your boat and help you understand some of the terminology that goes along with it. So we just take a look over here. Have a basic sailboat design. This would apply to catamarans, monohulls, whatever. So if you just look at this illustration, you see what they call the fore triangle, which is the area between the base of the mast, the stem fitting, or the junction between the forestay and the deck, and the top of the mast. That's what we call the fore triangle. And although it's not exactly saying the same thing when you say, you know, it's 100% jib, it corresponds roughly to the, more than roughly to the same thing. So that 100% jib basically covers the same area as the fore triangle of the sailboat. So you see this 100% jib would fit right in there. Just parts of the jib for a minute though. You have the leech here, which is the trailing edge of the sail. You have the luff, that's the leading edge of the sail. The bottom is called the foot. And an important difference here, the place where you attach the sheets is called the clew, and the place where the sail attaches to the forward section of the spar that it's on is called the tack. Okay, so just taking a look here, have the fore triangle there, and so your different jibs would either fill this. If it was more than 100%, it would fill more than that, or the clew would probably come back, you know, someplace aft. 110%, 120%, 140%, 150% would come way back here. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of different things here. We got the 100%, which is a category of sail which we call the working jib. And a working jib can be anything from about 120% down to about 85%. So the 120 would take up, you know, 120% of this fore triangle and come back here, about here someplace. And the 85 would take up 85% of that fore triangle. If it's more than 100%, the sail would have some ability to be able to be rolled up. A lot of boats, it's very common now for most boats to have a roller furling mechanism that rolls the sail up around the forestay. And that allows you to take a 120% jib and turn it into a 95% jib just by rolling it up around the forestay. And in that case, on a jib that was going to be rolled up and actually used for upwind sailing, you'd want to have little pads in the luff that allows it to take up the extra sail in the middle and give you the ability to make the sail flat. Which a jib or a Genoa, that's how it's really different from all the other sails, all the other foresails, is that you can make them flat and you can sail pretty high with them, including the 150. So let's just take a look at the 100 as like the working jib. Over here we have the storm jib, which is around 75, depending upon what you have. They usually are tacked at the bottom of the forestay, and then from the top here up to the top of the mast, they have a cable either attached to the forestay or one that you just hook in there yourself. But most of them actually come with that cable on the storm jib, and you just attach the halyard to the top of that cable and then pull it up. So that's a storm jib. And then here we have 150 jib, you know, 150% of the fore triangle. It has the ability to be sail really flat. You can pull it and tighten all the halyard and the sheet up, and the sail will flatten out and allow you to point fairly high, not as high as a working jib, but pretty high, much higher than any of the other, like the Gennaker, or if you guys have heard those terms, Gennaker, which is a combination between a Genoa, which is any sail larger than the fore triangle, and the Spinnaker, which is much larger, approximately 165% the size of the fore triangle. I mean, if you look at the diagrams of a Spinnaker, a lot of them look something like this. They'll come all the way out like this. And often the the leading edge of the sail is on a fairly large Spinnaker is longer than your forestay is, because you want it to billow out so it'll catch wind from coming behind. So some of them are small, and racing boats may have multiple spinnakers, 4 or 5 or whatever, for lots of different sailing conditions. But for cruisers, you just keep it simple. I mean, you want to have room for your other stuff that you want to take on the cruise, and not just stacks and stacks of sails down below. So okay, so just those 3 different types of sails, or 4 actually, is the working jib, the storm jib, a Genoa, and then you have the Spinnakers and Gennakers. The main difference between the Gennaker and, like as I said before, and this one, is the Gennakers are really fat in the forward part of the sail, which allows you to get lots of, build up a lot of wind pressure on the leeward side of the sail, and you can create a lot of forward, a lot of effort forward with those sails, as long as you're off the wind, like around a beam reach or lower. You can seldom, on any of those, you can seldom sail higher than a beam reach, or just a slight bit higher than that. So basic cruising inventory. When you start talking about, okay, so you need to order this boat and you need to figure out what kind of sails to have on it. Here's a good basic list. The cruising inventory includes a storm jib with 75% or less, a working jib maybe 110 that can roller reef, that's what we mentioned before, or otherwise around 90%. A Genoa of 140 to 150 for sailing high, pointing high, and an asymmetrical Spinnaker with either a sock or what they call the code 0 roller furling mechanism. The sock is a fairly old technology. It's been around for a long time, and they've improved it some, but it's one of those things that the way they originally set it up, it just worked, and it's still a really good thing to have. It protects the sail from sunlight and other stuff, but you can't leave it up all the time anyway. When people are cruising through the trades and they do get a chance to put it up during the daytime and then take it down at night, we'll often just leave it up until the wind or something, or rain or whatever, and they want to take it down and keep it dry. I've never used the code 0 before. I've seen it used. I'm not sure it'll actually work on a larger Spinnaker. So if you have an asymmetrical where your clew, as the luff is longer than your forestay, then it's obvious that you're not going to be able to do that. And the other thing, it's not like you can just roll it up and leave it for long periods of time, because there's no UV protection on it. All your sails that have roller furling ability with ability to stay up, if you notice those jibs you see on boats, they all have a UV patch sewn into the front of it, and it allows the sail to not be damaged by the sunlight. So anyway, that's it. And if you have any questions, you can ask. Larry at passagenautical.com is my email, and you can also just post them on Captain Larry Haney on Facebook. So okay, thanks.